Hi, welcome to Market Alert for Tuesday, the 16th of July 2019. So, yesterday, bonds, Bitcoin, bullion bid, that means higher, as small caps lag and reaches 10-year high. So, let's have a look and see what happened during yesterday's Dow session. And starting off with the daily, not a lot because the market's waiting for today when we're going to see this man speak. Powell is out at 6 p.m. as is his colleague Evans as well, so keep an eye out on this one. The rest really not a lot apart from I've just spotted this one. We've got Carney speaking at 1 p.m. May influence the pound. So Carney at 1 p.m. and then we've got Powell at 6 p.m. with his colleague Evans there. So the Dow yesterday treading water, really managing to put in a new all-time high, and the market still moving towards the upside there. In the intraday, in the main session, I'm going to talk about this in a moment. I had a question about why do I refer to the overnight market, electronic market, futures market and cash market. And I'll cover that in just a moment. But in the cash market, we see prices closing below the 200 bar moving average. They come back and close above twice before then going back through and then banging its head against the 200 bar there before we get a signal to move to the upside. It trades back to the 200 bar moving average and then manages to close above on the overnight. So what do we mean about these different trading times? Okay, now the cash market is the main stock market. Before we had the futures market, stock markets would open at certain times each day and trade. But then when derivatives were created, they allowed traders to speculate on where the stock market would likely open the following day based upon news that was released overnight. So in the stock market, cash market, this is where the physical shares are traded. And in New York, it's 9:30 a.m. to 4 p. EST. Now in the UK, that's 2:30 to 9 p.m. So when the market closes, it switches over to the electronic market, the futures market. And as it says here, that overnight news and financial events from around the world affect the nighttime and early morning futures prices. So this is when I talk about the electronic market, the pre-opening market, what it's likely to do. And this comes into effect, as you will see here. We've got the electronic and the open outcry trades in the Chicago board for the Dow, and it opens 15 minutes after the closing bell. That's the 9 p.m. of the cash market. The electronic version of the Dow Jones Futures starts trading at 5 p.m. That's 10 p.m. over here in the UK, and trades through the night until 15 minutes before the stock market opens. And what that means is the cash market. And they have this breather so that the market, it reduces some sort of manipulation, which is a bit of a joke. And then the Dow will kick in, and that's why you see the differences happen when the Dow opens at 2:30, and you get this. Just bring the chart up. You get drag it over. This is why you get the battle at the start from what the futures market were trading at and what the cash market decides where the market should be based upon all of the news that's being factored in. So that's how it works all the way through the week, and then when the market closes on Friday, the futures for the Dow Jones kick in at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. So there you go, that's the background to that. It was a question that I was asked, and it's easy to explain than actually write, but that's how it works with the Dow, and that's why you'll hear me refer, as in this situation here, that the Dow is currently up on the overnight, and that's the futures market. Now, for years, I had and still have and use a piece of software that I created way back in the 1990s, and this actually tracks the Dow cash, and you will see that it's not as smooth as you will see in the PPT charts, where the market is being made by ETX following the futures market. So it's not as smooth as this, and that's because it is reflecting the 2:30 to 9 p.m. every day. And when the US have holidays, this market is closed, whereas the futures market continues to trade. They will still try and create a market based upon what they think is likely to happen when the cash market opens again. So that's the difference. Also, the volume as well here is the number of trades, the number of shares or stocks traded, whereas in the futures market it's the number of contracts. And if we go back to here and to here, this link here at barchart.com, this is where I get data from. You will see here that the cash market is the 2:30 to 9 p.m. Then you've got all of the futures contracts that move out further, and here's the clue: the volume is the number of shares traded, and there is the number of contracts traded on the September futures contract there. And the open interest, of course, 94,000 contracts remain opened, and you can see them then moving through to the different futures contracts, further out ones as well. So that's how that works. And then, of course, we've got the implied volatility that is linked to the Dow. A very useful tool. And yesterday we saw this actually move higher. No surprise there, because you will get a situation where the implied volatility will actually increase with the market moving to the upside as well, which is always fascinating. That means that if this is starting to happen, you can see there where the market is moving higher. I'll just shrink that a bit. So you can see where the market's moving higher and the implied is starting to move higher, then there's a sense there's a potential risk for the market to correct, which is what we're starting to see there. And then while we're here, treasuries yesterday, this inversion remains, as does the prospect for a recession within 12 months as well, based upon the historical data of this, which we spoke about yesterday. And then finally, Bitcoin making its move back to the upside yesterday, finding support. As we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see prices coming back and settling above the 200 bar moving average in the 4-hour chart. At the moment it's just sitting on it, and in the 15-minute we're also back above the 200 bar moving average as well. Some nice volatility in this market at the moment. We had a buy signal there that went on to make profits. We had a nice pullback there, creating a double bottom, and then we've got the buy signal here moving the market to the upside. There's a sell signal here that failed. The market tested. Just look at the volume here. This is at the time when Steve Mnuchin came out to say that cryptocurrencies were a national security risk. Wherever he's got that from, who knows? But it had the opposite effect and boosted the market, and prices have continued to move higher. So today I will be looking for the market to come back to this level, test it, get some nice spikes in volume here, and catch a trade to the upside if that is to be the case. If not, then we'll get the short side as the market breaks through the 10,519 and may head down towards the 9,000 level there. So I'll just let the market tell me what to do, but that's where we are with the Bitcoin market as well. Okay, so that's it for this one. Keep in mind, Balmy Carney, Powell's out 6 p.m. as well, and yeah, let's see what they've got to say today. And with that, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.